Hey YouTube, welcome to Dad Describes. Today I wanted to talk to you about some of the craziness we see with the Merriam-Webster dictionary changing the definition of words. So before this week, sexual preference would have a connotation of meaning just that, sexual preference. But today I saw in the news that they've recently changed the definition to have an offensive connotation. Now, this was largely done after Judge nominee, going through her confirmation hearings, Amy Coney Barrett, described she didn't discriminate based on race or sexual preference, which is a good thing, and I think most of us can understand sexual preference again, means just what it says it is. But the culture war can't leave things at that. We have people apparently are offended by that term. You know, this comes down to word power. When you control the words people can use and that are acceptable to use, you can control and compel thought. Where does this lead in 10, 15, 20 years? You know, I think we should all be respectful to each other. That's a good thing. But where do we head when just everybody is offended by everything and we have to cancel people? Like, imagine the hatred you have to have of people to just change the definition to go after one woman that's up for this Supreme Court seat. They've made her out to be this horrible, evil person. And she's just a successful woman. I mean, really think about that. They've made her out to be the end of women's rights when she's a mother of 7. And has a job. Like, not just any job, but a high-powered job. You would think they would be coming out of the woodwork to defend her, but they're not. Instead, they attack her faith. They attack her adopted children. You know, and if they're willing to go after someone like her over this, she seems a very reasonable person. What are the rules? How do the rest of us live our lives? And I'm not talking about Republican, Democrat here. I'm just talking to you personally. In this world where everything's canceled and where the language just tears itself apart, how do you survive in a culture where linguistically you don't know what the rules are for the words you can use? And if you banter out a phrase, my goodness, they may attempt to just crucify you and fire you from your job, try to destroy your life. And it's not even like it's a discourse anymore. You know, you look at this Twitter and Facebook stuff where they're censoring this New York Post article about the Biden family, just carte blanche. You can't even link that article from a reputable media source. You can't even send it in a personal message to someone you know. They'll block it. We always feared government censorship, but man, the corporations have just gotten into this hardcore. And they seem completely sold out to this Marxist, leftist garbage. If I was left-leaning, I think I would have an honest, hard problem voting for all of this. It's one thing to have differences in philosophy on whether we should have a large government or a small government, whether you should have a lot of government services or more individual responsibility. But when the left seems obsessed with controlling every aspect of your life, it really feels like it's coming down to some totalitarian ideology. There's so much even on this platform here that you just can't talk about. You know, and how long is it before this stuff really starts impacting our lives? You know, what if they start saying, hey, well, you're a conservative Christian? Yeah, you can't have those views. That's hate speech. So, and because you have hate speech, we're going to put pressure on your bank so that you can't have a bank account. You think that hasn't happened? They've done it to the gun industry. They've gone after gun manufacturers and gotten banks to not do financial business with them. It's kind of a form of moral policing, but left-leaning moral policing, which comes down to some differences between the two parties. At the far right, and even at the mid-right, I think most Republicans, if you'd ask them, they just want left alone. I mean, our lives are hard enough. Jobs you don't like, marriage can be very challenging. You mix in some kids and some bills and debt, and you just don't want to deal with the government wanting to step on your back left, right, and center. And I think where this stuff ultimately heads is they'll put you in a box. They're going to ultimately push you in your own life, and they're going to make you make a choice, whether you have a voice or you don't. And I think they're going to use our kids as leverage against us. Oh, you're saying all of this stuff. This stuff is filled with hate and anger. These people are offended at you. You're a radical, crazy nut, and you can't hold these views in civil society. I think that's the tack they're going to use against people. And they'll say, hey, you're kind of an unfit parent in our eyes. And isn't that the nightmare scenario where somebody's accused of doing something and Children and Youth Services from whatever state you're in come knocking on your door wanting to evaluate you as a parent? I mean, that's just all you need, the accusation. You're an unfit parent. You're teaching your kids hate. And boy, it just makes you wish that we had a fair and balanced media. Have you seen some of that polling results where they talk about that in some of the more recent polling, they have given Trump only 75% of Republican votes in their sampling? No, that's not happening. I think he was in like the high 90s in the primaries. So you're telling me there's going to be less Republicans vote for Donald Trump in the general election than the percentage in the primaries? I don't think so. The polls are crap. The media's crap. Everybody's just selling crap on the left. I think every day it just gets more and more clear. These people have it in for our country. They have it in for the president. They have it in for you. Whether it's power they want, I don't know. I think ultimately they just want to upend everything. Me, what do I want? I want left alone. So for my leftist friends out there, if you want your leftist utopia, move to California. There's lots of real estate for sale out there because everybody else is bailing out of the state because it's gone from utopia to dystopia. Same with New York City. At any rate, a shout out to my subscribers. I really appreciate hanging out with me to date. Feel free to hit that like button, and if you'd like to join the team and help move this channel forward, feel free to hit the subscribe button. I would really appreciate that. You guys are great.